Welcome. I'm happiness coach Teresa Greco, and this is the Steps to Happiness show. Here, my guests and I talk about the steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Hello, and welcome to the Steps to Happiness show on 105.9 The Region. I'm your host, Teresa Greco, happiness coach, author, editor, writer, educator, and Reiki master. Are you ready to take the necessary steps towards true, unwavering inner happiness? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness, because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we'll explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices, and together we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Today's show is being brought to you by my friend Vito Villela, who has been extolling the virtues of positivity from the beginning of time. Thanks, Vito. The happiness principle for today's show is becoming aware of limiting beliefs that are holding us back from living our purpose. Having an awareness of the beliefs allows us to rewrite them with ones that will empower us instead. One clue that you can use to identify a limiting belief is the use of the words should or I have to. If we say a sentence such as, I should do this, or I have to do this, indicates that you're doing something you don't really want to do, but someone has made you believe you should. So we say things like, my dad is a mechanic and I should take over the business, or I'm a mother and this is my role and I should do this, or I have to be this way. And we blindly adopt these belief systems, these shoulds of what we're supposed to do in our lives. And oftentimes, what our greater purpose is does not fit these things that we should do. And it can be difficult to get past these internal programming of wanting to meet the expectations of others in order to do what you want to do in your lives. There's a belief that we have to do what other people want us to do for approval, validation, and love. The deepest fear that holds us back from breaking through these limiting beliefs is that we're not enough. The second fear is that if we're not enough, then we won't be loved. But realistically, those who live the joyous lives, make the biggest difference, and live the greatest purposes are those who know the real fear is living a life where they have settled or compromised on what they really wanted. One of my greatest mentors, Wayne Dyer, once said, there is one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits we believe. The goal then is to rewrite those limiting beliefs with the belief that serves you instead, where it makes you feel better about it because you can feel within yourself that it is the right thing to do for you, and not that it is something that you should or have to do. With that being said, I'd like to welcome my first guest on the show. She is a peak performance coach and psychotherapist. Hina Khan, hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, Teresa. I'm so thrilled to be with you.
Thank you so much. Why don't we start off by having you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So I work with people that want to get to the next level, whether it's in their business or their personal life. To be honest, it's all just one thing anyways. But they want to do it in a different way. They want to do that with ease and flow as opposed to this hustle and grind that we see all around us.
And so what would you say are some of the common limiting beliefs that your clients have that you help them to overcome?
You know, I think a few that are probably pretty big is worth, their own self-worth, and what they feel that they are allowed to want or allowed to have, and combined with money, that making money is hard, that, a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, so the idea that building a business is hard, and that they've got to work really hard and struggle. And if you don't work hard and struggle, then you haven't earned what you have. So you certainly couldn't even keep it or hold on to it if you are able to accumulate wealth or the type of life that you desire.
And so what do you feel the root cause is? Like, what is it that you feel like they need to work on the inside that will allow abundance to flow on the outside?
So I always say that our results, like what's in your bank account, your type of relationship, the type of profession you have, everything that is on the external is a reflection of what is going on in our mind, and particularly in our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the emotional part of the mind, and that's where, so, I always say you don't get what you want. Like consciously, you may say, I want that, but you get how you feel about what you want. And many times there's a contradiction between what people want and how they feel about what they want. And that's where the problem is. So, and it can be a real bummer because they're like, but I want this, I don't understand. But when we do some work and we dig deeper, they're like, oh, but I have negative feelings towards that. And that's really what's running the show. And we call that your paradigm.
What tools can you help them with so that they can identify those paradigms, right? That the awareness is the first part, that we live our lives very unconscious about the fact that we have these beliefs that operate within us, and they are behind a lot of the judgments and decisions that we make. And so how can we become more conscious of those?
I think the best way to do it is to look at results in your life that you're not happy with. Or maybe they're the results that you've had, like for the last 5 years, you've been making the same amount. Or you've been saying, oh, this is the year we're going to do this. And that you've been saying that for like a decade. So look at the results that you do not like and that you want to change. Because that will be an indicator of what beliefs you want to work on and where you want to work. So first become aware of that and become aware that you've created those results. And I know that can be so hard to hear because people are like, no, it's the economy, it was my spouse, it was the kids, it was this, it was that. So we just take a deep breath, get it out of your system, and then come back to me. And what we say is, if it's on your plate, you ordered it. That's how it was co-created. And I got to tell you, Teresa, there have been things in my life where I'm like, I did not order that. Please send that back to the kitchen. It came to the wrong table. But when I had a talk with myself, I realized even subconsciously, I was a match to that experience. So take responsibility for your current results and then ask yourself, well, what do you want? What do you really want? Like if anything is possible and you're not judging your wants, what do you really want? And then think about how you feel about what you want, and stuff will come up for you so fast, like, oh yeah, but I couldn't have that. Oh yeah, no, I'm too old, I'm too young, oh, I'm not educated enough. Oh, that's for other people. We didn't grow up like that. People will be upset. They'll say, who do I think I am? And those are the beliefs that you need to work with. So I would say that's a big step.
Would you mind repeating those again? Because those are common things that we tend to say to ourselves, that we're not worthy of that. Who am I to desire that? And what are some of the other ones you mentioned?
Yeah, those things like, oh, who am I to do that? What will people think? I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the education. I need to take another course. Oh, I don't have enough certificates. My wall is not filled with certificates. I'm not credible. I'm a fraud. No one will take me seriously. And then we just talk ourselves. You know what we do, Teresa? We talk ourselves smaller and smaller and smaller until we're so small that we're like, I'll just continue what I'm doing.
Many of us live our small selves instead of living the big self, where we are our greatest cheerleaders instead of our worst critic or worst enemy. That's why becoming aware of the things that we say to ourselves is so important. And we start asking ourselves, where did these beliefs come from? Like, why do I think sometimes so poorly of ourselves? Instead of being our greatest cheerleaders, where where we really understand who we are, that we are these amazing, powerful creators, and that we can really have the life that we want. And so my next question then is, how can we have our best life but still understand that true happiness is on the inside? So many of us desire success in our external environment at like work and, maybe things that we can buy and vacations we can go on. And we measure our success against these external acquisitions, our titles, our degrees, our job experience, all of that. So how can we still have the best life that includes those wonderful blessings, but understand that true happiness is on the outside, that even though we might acquire those things, really we can still feel empty on the inside. So how do we create really that balance between both of those things?
So I see living your best life as a deep understanding of happiness as an inside job. So sometimes people will come to me and they'll be like, I'll say, what's your goal? And they'll be like, Hina, I just want to be happy. I'm like, that's not a goal. Like, be happy now. Happiness is a state. So that's not a goal that I work with. So here's the thing. You're already powerful. It's just that your power and us as creators are expressed through the things that we do, through the things that we desire, through having a big life. So it's not about the goal. It's about who you become and the growth that happens. And you want to be happy when your bank account is in overdraft, as you do when there's, 6-7 figures in there. That is the work, is being able to have a mindset and disciplined thoughts that allow you to understand that, and understand that we are as nature for fuller expression and expansion. And to want to desire more is natural. It's natural. It's part of evolution, and not to judge it and make it wrong. And you can, but that's an expression of what it is that you're just, surrounding yourself with things you love, engaging in conversations that are meaningful to you. Like, it's an and. Like, to me, it's and. I know a lot of people who will, deny themselves what they want because they feel like a person that's very spiritual would not desire that. So that's a different kind of judgment. That's it in reverse, and that person is still not happy.
And what I've come to understand is that when we are full, when our cup is full on the inside, that the external just reflects who we are on the inside. So when we are abundant on the inside, abundant in love and joy and happiness, when we exude that, because that is who we really are, that the outside just reflects that. And then that's where the abundance comes to us from the external, that when we feel whole inside and we know that we're enough, then the external is going to start reflecting that. And that's why I feel like the work, which I know you do too, that the work really needs to be happen on the inside, because then naturally we have more clients in our business, that naturally we make more money, that naturally we have all these other things that we desire that just flow into our reality, because we are that, we're embodying that all the time. Would you say that sounds, also in alignment with what you do?
Yeah, like some people will talk to me about, like, they'll say, like, Hina, I also want to hit 7 figures, and like, what is your strategy? Like, are you doing this or that? And I'm like, that is the wrong question to ask. What you want to ask me is, Hina, what do you think? What do you believe? Because I believe I'm freaking amazing at what I do. I transform lives, and I'm worthy of massive compensation. I believe that money is easy. I believe my clients love paying me, because I love paying my coaches. And then I move my strategy out of that belief. So I can tell someone, do exactly what I'm doing, but they won't have the same results if they don't have the same belief behind the strategy. So I completely agree that it's all on the inside first, but that's the stuff that's not sexy. It's like a renovation. It's like we're talking about the stuff behind the walls, like the plumbing, the electrical, but we want that to work. And then when you flip the switch, your room is flooded with light. Well, that's what happens. It's like your whole world is just flooded with light when you show up in this way and really believe the truth of who you are, which is all underneath your judgments.
Thank you. Thank you. So if the listeners want to get in touch with you after the show, how would you recommend they do that?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of ways. I have a Facebook group called Hina Success Circle. That's where we can connect in real time. Instagram is at Coach with Hina. And I'm also doing a free week of 6 a.m. calls that's open to the public. These are usually exclusive calls for my clients. Like today we had 96 people on them that are just clients. But we open them up to the public, and you can find the info on my Instagram or in the Facebook group.
Yeah, thank you. And I really wanted to make sure that the listeners were aware of this amazing opportunity that they get a chance to listen to you and be part of these group coaching calls. And so I also am going to do a post on my Instagram page on how you can take advantage of that. And that's at Teresa Greco _steps to true happiness, and look for the giveaway post and the details underneath. Thank you, Hina, for being on the show and sharing with us the ways that we can live our best lives by shedding the beliefs that are holding us back from doing that.
Thank you, Teresa.
Stay tuned. After the break, I'll be speaking with Joanna, an empathic intuitive who will be sharing Spirit's answers to what we all want and need to make our life better. We'll continue here on 105.9 The Region, and you're listening to The Steps to Happiness Show with Teresa Greco. Welcome back to The Steps to Happiness Show with Teresa Greco. I'm here with my next guest, Joanna Alexopoulos, an empathic intuitive, spiritual teacher, energy therapist, and open channel who has acquired wisdom and guidance from higher realms of consciousness that she is going to share with us today. Joanna, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Teresa. It's lovely to be here with you all.
So why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what your mission is?
Teresa, I devote my time to sharing the divine messages of my book through my channelings, writing, speaking, mentoring, and energy healing. My mission is to inspire, encourage, and empower all to awaken to their spiritual truth, to understand and integrate and deepen their spiritual journey so that they can live their best life and have happiness and great health and happiness in their life. And although I braved through life with faith and trust, I finally did give up, and it was in the fall of 2012 that I completely surrendered and I accepted all that God had in store for me. And my spiritual awakening began at this time, and with the communication and connection and communication with my spirit guides. And they in turn lovingly paved the way for a communication with an even higher realm of consciousness, with ascended masters who came through for the delivery of my book. Although my journey was a long one, and it was a journey of self-discovery, I really understood myself. I really came to understand who I was, that I was a highly sensitive empath, and I have a lot to offer to our world. And I understood that I had to use my gift. It wasn't a curse, it was a gift, and I had to use it and lovingly share it with the world.
For those people who are not familiar with channeling, what would you say that is exactly?
Channeling is a form of telepathic communication between humans and higher realms of consciousness with non-physical beings of love and light that are above us. And it involves the channeler raising his or her vibration and the spirit lowering theirs to meet and greet and merge and become one, and then the communication happens. So it's a wonderful reality to know that we're not separate from the world above us, that we are together and they are here and they are assisting us in our growth here on this planet Earth, and that we are connected. We're not separate. So it's just a wonderful reality, yes.
It's different than what we know of mediums, right? Where mediums are connecting with those humans that have passed, but you are actually connecting with beings of light that are of higher realms than that.
Yes, Teresa, you're absolutely right that we connect with higher realms, and there are 9 dimensions and we connect with, whoever we wish to connect with. We invite them in, and yeah, channeling involves speaking. You can use your voice box to do this. And so the non-physical beings use your voice box to deliver the messages, so it's really conversational. And they also use you through writing. So you take your pen and paper and writing comes through. And it's soul-to-soul communication, Teresa. It really is, yes. It's wonderful. Up until now, we haven't been really understanding that we are that power and that greatness, and we are worthy to the greatest extent. And we can all do this. We just have to not be so afraid. And it's fear that is blocking us, yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what is happening in our world right now?
Our planet is undergoing a huge awakening at this time. We're really creating heaven on earth. It's such a wonderful time to be alive. We're moving out of the way we have been living our lives through a fear-based consciousness, living with lack and limitation in our lives, and manipulation and control. And we're starting to understand how we have been living, and we're not comfortable with how we've been living. And we're asking questions. We're really deepening our inquisitive minds. We're asking, and we're wanting to know why we're here, what our purpose is, because there's a stir within us, a divine stir that is happening within us that is inviting us to know more. We're supporting us to know more. And so, yes, we're moving out of this fear-based consciousness that we have been living in, using our egos, our minds to create our realities from, and we're moving into a much more ascended consciousness, using our hearts to create from. So there's a huge movement towards our spiritual growth right now, and it's just wonderful that our planet is actually shifting. And it is although I have to say that in this shift there will be some chaos and some dysfunction happening, and some not so pleasant experiences happening in our world, because with this shift in consciousness, the energies are stirring and they're creating, imbalance even more so than we have now. But all in good faith and trust that everything will settle, and we will be so much better. It's just a beautiful time to be alive and to experience this, yes.
What do you believe is the biggest issue today that's impeding our happiness? And how can we get through this?
Yes, well, there is no balance, Teresa, between the physical and the spiritual part of us. We have to understand that we're spiritual beings, and everything that we want and need is within us. We're built that way. We're divine beings of love and light. And we have really not understood this. We depend more on outer comforts to bring us joy and happiness, and forgotten to really, being more with the inner. And to understand that we are that power. We're so powerful because we're divine beings, so we can create whatever we wish. And we live our lives constantly looking for approval of others. We live our lives constantly depending and expecting others having great expectations of others, and we live in fear, aimlessly seeking that approval, aimlessly wanting that acceptance, and looking for things that are outside of us. Love that is looking for love outside of us. And in this way, we release our power, Teresa. We release our lives to others, and we become victims. And we show ourselves to not have control of our lives, and we live in this creates disappointment. It creates insecurity and creates doubt and fear and anxiety and all of the lowering vibrations of that which we're not. And the reality is we do have control of our lives, and we need to understand that, the power that we are, and that we don't need to look outside of ourselves. We are all of that, the acceptance, the approval, the love. It's all within us, and it's found within us. So this is the truth, and this is our problem right now, that we haven't understood ourselves, who we are. We're always looking outside of ourselves. We're looking for people, places, things to bring us comfort. We're not living in the moment. We're not appreciating everything that comes to us. I mean, we're here to create fully and experience life fully and to move forward and advance ourselves. We've come here for that purpose. We've come here to evolve through our experiences. And we're always living in doubt and fear and anxiety. And how can we grow and develop and become better and brighter if we're doing that? So it's really understanding ourselves better and, and having this awareness and willingness to change and living in gratitude. Live in gratitude and more blessings will come. Understand your truth and understand that gratitude is a high vibration of love and will bring us everything that we need.
Now, if listeners would like to learn more about you and connect with you after the show, how can they do that?
Yes, well, I have Facebook and Instagram and a website and a YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel and my Instagram is under my name, Joanna Alexopoulos. And my Facebook, I created a Facebook group page under Awaken to Your Truth recently. And in that, I welcome you to join because I do hold weekly 1-hour sessions online for all the members. And I post regularly, I post my channelings there. And also my website is www.awakentoyourtruth.com with hyphens in between, awaken-to-your-truth.com. And my book is available on Amazon.
Yeah, I wanted to let the listeners know that you are offering one lucky listener a copy of your book. So if you can really quickly just let us know what your book is about, and then I will let them know how they can qualify for that.
Awaken to Your Truth is a guide to understanding the spiritual truth that you are. It is a guide towards helping you to live your best life. It guides you. It shows you the way out of the darkness that you're feeling and experiencing now into the light. It shows you how to access and activate your divine truth and power. And it is just a step-to-step guide. It's just a wonderful healing journey that you are taken through from the beginning to the end. And it has come in divine timing to help us through our awakening at this time.
Thank you. And I'm reading it right now, and I can say to the lucky listener or those who, go to Amazon and take a look at the Awaken to Your Truth, that it is really inspirational. And I love the fact that it is divine or source or the universe or, whatever it is that, whatever word you use to represent spirit, that it is spirit's message, direct messages to us. So I really love that. Now, to qualify for that opportunity, please visit my Instagram page at Teresa Greco _steps to happiness and look for the giveaway post for the details. Joanna, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Teresa. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Today's show discussed the importance of becoming aware of the things that are holding us back from living our best lives. Once we become aware of these thoughts and beliefs, then we can take action to rewrite them, to create a new story for our lives, one that allows us to remember who we really are, which is happiness, love, peace, and creativity. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to being with you next Saturday.
Interested in happiness and spiritual coaching and workshops? Go to teresagreco.ca. Email stepstotruehappiness@gmail.com. Follow on Instagram, Teresa Greco _steps to happiness, or on Facebook at Steps to True Happiness with Teresa Greco. This is the Steps to Happiness Show on 105.9 The Region.